Hello and welcome to the lesson 4 of the CSS series. This lesson is about font and text properties. So those properties are gonna help us customize our texts during the web development. So font properties. The first font property I'm gonna explain is font family. It helps us set the type and the family of the font. So I'll add inside the body selector font family, starting with the type. A font can be cursive, that is close to our handwriting. Quick example. A font can be serif and or sans serif. So if you want to understand better what's a serif font or a sans serif font, please dig up some related text. Mostly is related to the typography of the font. Well, family of the font, as we usually know, is Times, it's Arial or Arial Black. Those are font families, and we can use a lot of them in the web. Those are known web fonts like Arial Black, Arial Times, but we also have some not so standard fonts that are also recognized, such as Time New Roman, and it works. So when a font is not in the web standard, we usually have to add double quotes around it. And the last feature of font family is that you can add Times New Roman and serif as an order. What will happen in that order? The browser is going to look for the first font, and if this font is not available, it's going to go to the next font in the list. So defining different fonts will help us in the when, for example, you are accessing the web page from a different device or from a different browser, you don't have to be afraid of getting unknown font or a font that doesn't suit your page or your text or your purpose. This is the reason why we define several fonts, mainly in the body or where you're going to define most of your text. So font family is covered. Let's go to font size. We've used font size. So let's set the text. That is probably 16 pixels. Let's set it to 10 and see what happens. It's going to be smaller. We can set it 12. Not be that small. 14, and let's leave it that way. So we can keep on with the next properties. Font size is one of the most used properties related to text, so you're going to use it all the time. You can use it with pixels, or you can use them with relative units such as EM. So in this case, we're going to set 1 EM, and nothing is going to happen because 1 EM is the default browser size, as we discussed in the last lesson. So let's let 1 EM. It's gonna be 1.5 the default browser. So that's what happens. You can use it with relative parts of the website, and you can set different font sizes and not have to change your size of other stuff. when we see media queries, you're gonna understand this better. So let's move to the next topic. Font weight. Font weight is basically bold. It's the thickness of our font. So thickness of our font, as we can set also in the span, can be bold, of course. So it's going from normal to bold, but it can vary if you want to be really specific. It can be a value started with 100 and it goes up to 1200, I guess. So no, probably 1000 is the limit. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, sorry, it's 900 the limit. So let's set 900. Yeah, this is the boldest font, and this is the thinnest font. You can set it to normal or bold as it's most used. So fonts are covered. Let's go to text properties. Text align is the position of the text in your page, in your element. So I'm going to give you two examples so you can understand how does this alignment work. First of all, it's our heading. We don't have anything limiting our heading, so text align center is gonna put the heading in the center of the page. Text align right is another option to the right. So the default is left. We can use center or right. Let's get it back to the right, to the left, sorry. And we can also use this text align inside elements. So we want, for example, this p tag to be centered inside the div, not inside the whole page, as we used in the last lesson. A nested selector, and we're gonna set font align center. So I'm sorry, what's happening? Oh, that was really a bad example. Text align with font in my head. So text align center is gonna center the element within a div. Next property, text transform. This is useful when you want your text to have all letters in uppercase or all letters in lowercase, or if you just want to capitalize it. So let's get to p tag and set text transform capitalize. So every word in the text is now capitalized, as you can see. This is not a p tag, but all the p tags have the text capitalized. Let's say that the heading should be uppercase. So we do set it to uppercase, and this is what happens. I think you got the idea. It's useful depending on what you want to do. Text decoration, you'll see this a lot when using a-links. This draws a line related to the selected text. So the default is text decoration none, but we can add underlines or other kinds of lines. The most used is underline, like this one. We can cross a line through the text if you want to say that this text is not valid or something, or you can add an overline. I'm gonna say that I honestly never used this overline, but it's interesting to know. It's interesting to hear about that. Let's leave the underline here and move to the last but not important property, text indent. this adds an indentation to the first line of the text. So this is really common, but it's not that used. People should use this more often. Let's say I want an indentation of 15 pixels. The p tags are gonna have 15 pixels before the first line of text. That's it for today. I ended up not using the to class, but I think we covered all the font and text properties, at least the most important ones. I hope you like this class. The next one is gonna be about borders. So thank you very much for watching. I see you next time, and bye.